I'm stripping off the roof. We've got good weather, I think, forecast for the next couple of days, so I'm going to make the most of it and start ripping it off, even though I'm on my own. Well, so far so good. It's not actually too bad. Once you get the top ones off, it's just a case of working our way down. Now I'm about just over a quarter I'm doing in one strip, just so I can have a nibble at a time. But I think it's pretty doable as a one-person job to strip 50 square metres in a day. And then hopefully, as it's dry overnight, fingers crossed, touch wood, then we'll come back in, strip the battens and felt tomorrow. Hi folks, today is the big day. Today is the day that I strip the rest of the roof. I made a start yesterday, but today's the main day. I was hoping to get up here earlier, but such is life with children. It's about, well, just before 8. With the builders merchants, they've loaded up the batten. They're going to be down in about 5 minutes to lift that off onto the driveway so it's ready, which is a good thing because we don't really want things flapping around. First job is going to be to move that scaffold board I had at the bottom to catch my slates along to the next section. Right, weapons of choice for stripping the roof. Some of them you're going to need to use a slate ripper, which is basically the ones you can't get to the nails of. Slide this up under and shear the shank of the nail off. And these nails are super soft, so that's quite an easy way to go, but it's a bit clumsy to carry around all the time. Most of these nails, as soon as you give them a tap or a punch, they go through the slate pretty cleanly, and majority of slates, reclamation slates I guess, are going to be used with hooks, or they'll rehold them, so that's not a problem. Any reclaim ones I've bought in the past have always been knocked through. So I've been using a punch and a hammer, which worked fine, but what I was thinking overnight is if I use a ball peen sort of rounded end of a hammer, then it might be that I can just tap them straight up with this and not have to worry about two hands. So that's pretty much it. I'm sliding them down, full slates go into a stack, broken slates go down into the skip. The other thing I was doing is putting a sheet, like an old blanket, in here to cushion it. Once you've got a couple of slates already fallen, slid down, then the next one's kind of wedge under and it's quite a soft landing. Of course I'll wash the sheet before we put it back on the bed. remember I've never done this before, so there might be more efficient ways of doing things, but the way I'm doing it, especially because I'm working on my own, is stripping from the top down, getting the ridge tiles off carefully, and then making my way down the roof and kind of working across as I go. That way you don't need to rip too many slates because you're just punching them down. And the ball peen hammer is perfect. It just punches the nail head down. I mean, some of them it just breaks their head off and you can lift them off. So that's working really well. Move the board across now so we can just carry on. Well, we're getting there. I can almost taste lunch. I'd say an 8 to go. Right, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty hard work. We're about halfway through the workload, I think, just getting the slates off, and well, we're lunchtime now, so have a quick break, and then I'm gonna start brushing down, and then I need to work out how I'm gonna take the battens off, whether I take off every third one, so I can still get up and down to do the last sweep down, whether I just work from the top down. Probably makes sense to do that. We'll brush down, vacuum down, and then we can make a start on the membrane. Here's a quick look at the eave storage because you'll never see it like this again. So under here I have the leftover 100mm king span. So this is almost like a floating floor over our joists with some OSB down and the carpet tiles. So that's fully insulated from the rooms below, but this is a cold space. Through here we've got the stud work for the short dwarf wall, and that is 100mm between and 50mm on the inside. So that's completely thermally broken. Yes, you could probably put a membrane on the outside of that, but really there's no need. There's the lighting. And from the mid truss onwards, we've insulated much further down because that's an insulated storage space within the room. Right, I've now removed all the flashings from around the Velux, which I'd completely forgotten about. So kind of reverse engineered those, or reverse the instructions so I could get that off and keep it all safe. Now I'm going to start removing the battens. Now what I'm going to do is cut them at 8-foot intervals, or roughly that, with the circular saw first, hopefully not hitting any nails, then pry them off, and then they're more manageable for me and also to get them in the skip. And I'll take the brush up as well and do all the brushing whilst I'm up there and work my way down. So stripping it off seems to be going to plan. I'm trying to brush down and vacuum as I go from the top down to the bottom. Only issue is we're not going to get, I want to do the membrane right. Obviously I could put it on, just batten it roughly, but the forecast is 0 chance of rain, which is just unheard of in September, but we'll take it. It's quite interesting, a lot of the nails in the exposed sections of the roofs, by that I mean the ones that don't have a ceiling, they are much more rusty and corroded than were up there. So you imagine all that condensation, or condensation, which was on the bottom of the slates, which we saw all the time. And this house was built with rooms up here, so the areas that didn't have a ceiling would have had more moist air from the house sitting under the slates and rotting out those nails, whereas actually up top nearly all the nails pulled out. So I've cleared down and I'm pretty much ready to start on the membrane, but there's a couple of bits I might want to do first. One of which is where the roof lights are, they went in, it's a very short span, they never had doubled up rafters, simply because there was already a roof light there. That was the situation beforehand. I didn't really think to change it, but it looks like over the years prior to us putting in ours, there was a bit of a sag in the roof, which I think we saw at the time of install. So I'm thinking I might just sister a second rafter onto the side of it to even out everything. It's never going to look as clean as this ever again, so I'm happy with how we are now. I'm going to roll out the membrane and batten on.